We are recording.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 3 of the SunniDaze podcast.
Heck yeah. Episode 3 already.
Yeah, it's kind of flown by. I know we always say that. We say that every episode, but...
And this one's actually on time.
I know. Sorry about that, you guys. Honestly, we've been really stressed out, and I feel bad, but...
Yeah.
We got to put our mental health first. So sometimes if it comes out a little bit late, it happens.
Yeah. It do be like that sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes. But yeah, so we're a little bit better prepared now. So I think we should be good for the rest of the season. If it happens again, we apologize.
There will be a valid explanation as to why.
Yeah.
For sure.
But as you guys heard in the last episode, it's been nuts.
Yeah.
To say the least.
If you ever heard it, go and check it out. It's a great episode. It's a doozy.
Yeah, you guys can listen to our suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's nice because I guess this is just me, but sometimes when I'm just listening to other people gossip and I'm just listening to stuff going on in their lives, I'm like, I'm so glad that's not me. Right. Not in like a mean way, but sometimes I'm just like, I love listening to the tea and listening to gossip and stuff, but I don't like being in the drama. I just like listening. So there you guys go. There's even more that's happened since we put out that episode. Mm-hmm. Do you want to mention it? I mean, we can. It's just really brief.
Yeah, go for it.
I think towards the end of episode 2, we mentioned that we put up cameras at our apartment because we have a little alley behind our apartment, and we have a little balcony as well that you can just look down and you can see the parking spaces. So we thought it'd be a really good idea to put up cameras out there so we can keep an eye on my car.
Right.
Well, and your car too, but more specifically mine because mine's targeted.
Exactly. Yep.
But we put up cameras, and literally not even 24 hours later, we got complaints apparently. And so I don't know this woman's position. She's like a property manager or something.
Yeah, she's the manager of the apartment complex.
Yeah, so this is not the wench. We're calling this woman the witch. So this is the witch. She calls David, and I'm at work, but she calls him and
straight up flying on her broom.
Yeah, flying in on her broom out of nowhere, uncalled for, saying that we got a bunch of complaints and how we need to take them down right now. And then she threatened to evict us if we didn't take down the camera.
Yep. She said we'd be in non-compliance and we'll be evicted. And I was like, what?
It was just nuts. It's it's ridiculous. I got home from work and we went down to the office and we talked to her because she
made me upset.
Yeah,
Very
so upset. In the state we live in, it is a one-party consent state. And if you don't know what that means, basically, we can record a conversation without having to have everybody consent to it. So I consented, and so did David, so we could record it. And she's being so nasty. She literally told us that gates, because it's a gated community, and the gates never shut. She said that gates actually don't help repel any crime. And then David said something along the lines of, well, I feel like it is. And then she cuts him off and she says, well, facts don't care about your feelings. It was so ridiculous. I'm like, are you in your 12th grade debate club, ma'am? This is real life. It's not even true what she was saying. I looked it up, and from a government website, it's something about division of crime or something like that. They said that it's 33% less likely for houses in gated communities to become victim to burglary and stuff like that. Right. And I assume that would go to the parking lot as well because it's gated. But,
right.
It's just literally not factual. And she said a bunch of other things that were just so uncalled for, and it was very weird. She was definitely projecting a lot. She's like, well, I have people coming here and screaming at me all day. you chose to work here.
You're right. Exactly.
You chose this job. But we got it all sorted out. We compromised, but...
She allowed us to keep the cameras up, but we had to put them in a different position to where they're not as visible. So, I mean, the angle isn't as fantastic as it was, but it still works.
Yeah, and I can commend her for wanting to kind of, work with us.
Yeah.
Because I think in a lot of ways she knew that we could probably do, certain things, like take legal action and stuff like that.
Dispute our case.
For my car specifically, because... I was talking to my dad about it, and he works at an insurance company, and he was saying because the gates don't work and then they kind of advertise themselves as a gated community, I could put a case against them for negligence, which I feel like I could probably win for at least for the cost to fix my car, but
right.
It's not even worth it. I'm just tired of dealing with it. But I just wanted to share that with you guys because we did get a little update. We did promise that we'd update you guys.
Yeah. What I found funny is how rude she was over the phone. And then when we went in person, she was like, okay, we can compromise.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird to me. If we never went up there, she never would have compromised with us. We would have still just been super angry. And it's just dang.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was a very two-faced sort of situation.
Yeah, I mean, the wench is very similar in that aspect. In person, she doesn't like to argue at all. But over the phone, she will be the biggest see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. Besides that, this week has gone by pretty well. We got some chores done at the house. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I got some stuff done for school and just worked. What about you?
Today I just primarily slept.
Yeah, you slept a lot today.
I slept a lot. We had some Krispy Kreme donuts that you graciously bought for you and I, which I appreciate very much.
Yeah, I was trying to sneak out so I could surprise him. And right when I got in my car, he's like, oh, what happened? Where are you going? And apparently I scared the living shit out of him because he heard my car turn on. Yeah. He thought somebody was probably stealing it, huh?
Yep. I was about to eliminate. but yeah, so I had five donuts in total. And so I passed out. And but yeah, that was pretty much today. We got our old retro Nintendo 64 working and going. We had to take it apart a little bit to clean it out and clean some stuff because it kept resetting itself. But
the reset button was full of icky, gross tar built up from the past 26 years.
Yep, it's crazy. But we got it working, and I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, some of the games were kind of messing up, but besides that, it was good.
Yeah.
I had fun. I got to play Pokemon Stadium, which I haven't played in 12, 13 years.
It's kind of an interesting game.
Yeah, I really liked it. I was getting frustrated, though, when I forgot where you were supposed to go to battle. And so I was like, why do I only get these shitty characters? They were giving me the worst characters ever. And of course you were winning.
Right. I had the better ones.
Yeah. There was one specific character. I had just brought out, the new Pokemon. Which one was it? Do you remember?
The new Pokemon.
I had not opened, but we were battling, and then I brought in, a new Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, and then I just one-shotted it.
Yeah.
It's just gone in
he literally did one move and completely killed it with one move. I was so pissed.
I was like, what? How did that even work? It's Bulbasaur killing... Was it Clefairy? Wasn't Clefairy, no.
No, you had Clefairy.
I had Clefairy.
I don't know. Not even the point. But I realized that as a kid, I could pick whatever character I wanted, but you had to go to a specific place. I think you had to go to the gym or whatever.
Stadium.
The stadium. Yeah. That's what it was. But yeah. Anyways, enough about that. Yeah. So this month is kind of flown by pretty quickly. I know that's kind of random, but yeah. I was thinking about that earlier when I brought up just getting stuff ready for school. I was like, damn, it's already past the halfway point of this month.
Yeah. School's starting so soon, and I'm not excited to start, honestly.
Why?
I was at first, and now it's just like as it's coming closer, I'm like, the stress.
Yeah.
The stress is coming back already.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. Mine, I'm not excited for my semester, but for different reasons, which I said earlier I'll get into, but we thought that today we would talk about some tips that we have for starting school or just kind of like maintaining your grades in school. So think of it kind of like, what is it? Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
The Nickelodeon show.
I want to make sure it's getting the title. I can't talk. See,
right.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. I was like, I'm going to say this wrong, and then I'm going to sound like an idiot.
I remember that show. My brother used to watch it like religiously before he started middle school, and I was like trying to take notes and stuff. I thought it was like actually going to be something that was helpful, but I don't remember much of the show. But yeah, we have some good tips for you today. Mostly about like high school and college sort of stuff. But I mean, if you are in middle school, going into high school, you could definitely kind of take some of these tips just based on our experiences.
Yeah. Some of these tips you'll definitely know what specific kind of grade level it's being aimed towards. Like, for example, something with like college textbooks not really going to apply to you if you're in high school.
Right.
But it's always good to have this knowledge for the future if you do decide to go to college. If not, that's fine too. You don't have to go to college.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of these things that even going through college, I wish I knew in high school, which would make me more successful.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, in high school, personally, I did really well. I'd typically get mostly A's.
Mm-hmm.
I always hated school, but I was like, you know what? I'm here. I might as well try, and I'll try my ass off for this. And I did well, and because people like saw that I did well, they would always like, why do you like school so much? And I'd always tell them, no, I hate school.
You're like, I really don't.
No one believed me. And it was always kind of frustrating that no one believed me in that sense. But yeah, some of the things that I did a lot was trying to balance my social life versus school life.
Yeah.
Most of the times I would hang out with my friends would be during the weekends. We would occasionally during the week, but just like during the weekends, it was always great. We'd always just go out and do some like mischievous stuff. We'd always just be just doing us, Yeah. And it was always great. And come Monday, just like, all right, got to get back into the school mode,
Yeah. I think making time for stuff like that, not just kind of schoolwork, not just on the constant grind of if you working and going to school and that's it, and like studying. Like that's no way to live. Like you need to adequately like schedule yourself some time to relax and have fun with your friends or go hang out with your siblings or with your family or anything. Mm-hmm. I kind of had that issue. Not so much with like schoolwork, but when I was in college, a lot of the time, I mean, I'm still in college, but back in the day when I first started, I worked 2 jobs, like a lot of the time. So
and college?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would never really hang out with friends, and I didn't really have friends. It sounds weird, but after high school, those of you who are about to graduate or are in high school, 99% of the time you're not really like close friends with anybody once you like graduate.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely agree.
It's definitely very weird. We can definitely get into that on another episode, but you don't really become close friends with anybody, at least for a little bit. That's just my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I went to community college, still going to community college. It's kind of hard to meet people, honestly. I'm still having issues with it. I still like don't have really any friends.
Yeah, and then moving to a new state, it's just like even worse for you.
Yeah, and I mean I don't really give too much away about my location and stuff, but those of you who know. But I've been here before, and I had friends a while ago, and I still have some that I'm in contact with, but we never like see each other in person. Right. And then in Texas, I definitely had more friends that I would see in person. I miss them a lot. It's just, I don't know. Now it's just hard to kind of see people in person. So
Yeah.
even if you don't really have friends like that, you just need to make time for yourself, and you need to make time to relax. Like constantly just on the grind of school and work or whatever else.
It's
whatever
gonna burn you out.
Exactly. It's just, that's the one thing you want to avoid is burnout. It sucks so bad.
Yeah. And I feel like the best way to avoid burning out is actually to experience it and learn from doing so.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, to just full on avoid it means you'll probably just procrastinate a lot of stuff, and then it just turns into like this whole, okay, maybe I'll just quit doing this or I'll drop out. And it's just like, no, like sometimes to learn how to avoid something is to experience it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Even if you're sitting here and you're taking notes just like David did back in the day, you're probably still gonna get burnt out, but and you'll follow these and you'll do whatever, but you might still get burned out. It happens.
Yeah. And
it happens to everyone.
Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone burns out at different rates at different times. And it's just like, there's no universal code and advice. There's no just like one thing you can give somebody and be like, it'll help everyone. Like, no, everyone's a little different. Yeah.
Once you guys get older, or I guess even now you're still learning, we're still learning, but you'll start to learn more about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Especially,
oh my gosh, yes.
Just personally, like, even, like, going through school, I've, like, learned so much about myself and, like, my needs that I need for my body specifically, and my mind. You'll learn so much about yourself in the next, like, probably, 4 or 5 years. It's crazy.
Yep.
I've grown so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, when I first started college, I started out in computer science, and I was like, I'm going to just go straight for my master's. I'm going to do, like... I was going to just start with computer science, not really knowing exactly what computer science was. And then I was like, okay, I'll probably like specialize in the cybersecurity field or something. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And then like 2 semesters in, I learned I hated it. And so I went 2 more semesters in computer science. And I mean, we had an episode all about this before, I think in season 1.
Yeah.
But I long story short, switched my major, loved it, graduated with my bachelor's, but I'll be starting my master's this fall. In cybersecurity, actually, which is funny. But one thing that I really did to help manage stress, even though I'd still get burnt out at times, one thing that really did help manage the stress was a whiteboard. I got a giant whiteboard that I could just like write all my classes and then just write each bit of homework down that I need. And this is really something I wish I had in high school, because trying to remember all your homework just off the tip top of your brain, you're bound to forget something eventually. Even if you're good at it, you're going to forget something, and it's going to just be like added more stress. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Okay, me.
I've done that before too.
Okay, which is funny, is I was literally going to mention that too. But for me, it's a planner.
Okay.
That planner has saved my life. Like, I'm not even kidding. It sounds so goofy, but just get something to write stuff down. I'm the type of person who has to write everything down or I'm going to forget. So with a planner, I get one that you can kind of add to or take away. I think they're called like the daily planner or something like that. They sell them at Michael's. If I remember, I'll put a link in the bio or whatever. I'll put a link up wherever. Wherever you guys are viewing this or listening, I'll put something somewhere. But I really like them because you can add. For me, I like to add a specific place for notes. And there's little pages you put in. So at the beginning of every week, what I'll do is I will look into my calendar for my classes and I'll write down all the assignments that I have to get done or I think I should do that week. And then like the tests I have to do or anything else for school or work or whatever. And then I'll put it on like a big long list. And then I'll look at my schedule and see, oh, these days I'm working this to this, and then this day I'm working this to this. And then I'll schedule myself out specific things to do that day. So by the end of the week, I don't have anything to do. So I have the weekend to myself.
That's good.
And I know for some people it's going to be different because you work on the weekends or
right.
You're in high school and you go to school every single day and you don't really have a choice when to do the schoolwork. But I personally do online classes, so I can kind of like work whenever I can. which is really good for me.
Yeah, exactly. And during a fair portion of college, I actually did, or at least my first 2 years of college, I actually did work on the weekends. And so finding time to be able to just relax really wasn't a thing for me, because I would go to school 5 days a week, work on the weekends. And then I was dating my ex-girlfriend at the time, and it was just like trying to balance all that again on the topic of being burnt out. Ooh,
yeah.
That was crazy. Personally, what I do with the whiteboard though is what I like is having something written big. And so it's just like, okay, I can see this, because if I put it in a planner, it's like, okay, I can just like fold it up and put it away. But if it's like written big on a wall, it's like always screaming in my face, like, David, do your homework. And so what I personally would do is like have my class in like one color or something, write each bit of homework that I need, and then write the day I need to like get it done by. And even if it's not the due date, I'll be like, okay, get this done by like, the 24th. And then this next piece, get that done by the 27th. And then it's just like, if I don't have it done on that day, then I find some way to like, I guess in a way, punish myself or incentivize myself. Like, if I don't do this, I can't like, go get like energy drinks, or I can't like go hang out with my friends or whatever. Like I will find ways to actually punish myself if I don't do the things I need to.
And then, okay, why would you punish yourself?
Well, it incentivizes you to do your homework a little more. It's just like, it kind of gets you in the mindset, because I always hated homework like so much. And so I would just like try to make myself like train myself to do my homework on time.
I can't even believe that. I would like never punish myself. Okay, take what he's saying with a grain of salt, and I guess take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I would never like punish myself or something like that.
Okay, that's fair.
Because at the end of the day, you did it or you did, So it's like, what is punishing yourself going to do? I mean, in the future, it might happen again. Why punish yourself? You know what I mean? Well, just try to do better.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fair. It's just like personally what I did. I'm not saying like you should do this too. It's just like, that's what I did. And it worked, but just do what works for you. Experiment around, see what works, what doesn't work. If the planner thing, like how Alexa has, if that works for you, then do that. If you need something written big on a wall, get a whiteboard, and they're not even that much money. And it's a great investment. It helps kind of reduce the stress in terms of trying to remember what you have to do, and then forgetting all your due dates and everything. And it's just like, it's really nice to just have that. Yeah.
Kind of like on topic with that though, I want to mention that you always hear people talk about this, and it's like a meme, doing your assignments last minute. I know it's like funny, everybody can kind of relate to that. Just try your best not to do that.
Yeah.
I swear to God, once I figured out that you should just kind of like do the assignments in like a timely manner, my school life and how I did in school just completely changed.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have to be like an overachiever and like constantly study and something. And that's not what I'm saying, because if you know me, I'm not constantly studying.
Right.
But just getting your assignments done so you just don't have to worry about them, you're kind of just like giving yourself a gift in the future. Because if you just choose not to do it, and you just like, you're like, I'm just gonna watch TV here. And sometimes, you just have to relax. Yeah. You don't want to like overwork yourself. But if that's just like a constant thing that you're doing, just try to get your assignments done. And in the future, you're like, oh, it's already done. I don't even have to worry about it now. Yep. And there was one point, it was when COVID happened. It was that first, I think it was the first of the semesters that we were doing online courses. So the fall of 2020, I had classes, and I was able to finish some of these classes like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, besides like awesome. Taking the final exam.
Yeah.
Because I just had all this time. I mean, nothing was open. I was living away from anybody I knew except for my grandma. So I was like, I can just get all this stuff done right now. And so I did. And so I could just relax and do nothing.
It feels so good. Like when you get stuff done on time or early, it just feels so nice. Because then you have time to yourself. You're like, ooh, I can actually relax.
Well, exactly. And so it's like giving that gift to yourself. Like you're grinding a little bit, but not too much. You got to find that good balance for yourself. And then by the end, you're feeling great, and then you have like a really good grade at the end, and you're not like busting your balls for it. You know what I mean?
And not to say you're not going to have in college specifically. I'm not saying you're not going to have some of those all-nighters where you're going to be up till like 3 a.m. studying or doing homework or something. But like Alexa said here, just like pace yourself. Test the waters, especially in college. If it becomes too much, just like there's no shame in dropping some classes.
Yeah.
There's really no shame in that because you really just don't want to trade in your mental health for success. And it's just like what good is that going to do really? You're going to shorten your lifespan for just a little bit more success.
Well, exactly. And half the time, this is something I've noticed. It's kind of on topic with what you're saying, but there are people who will sit in class next to me when we're about to take a test, and they're just like looking through notes. And in my personal opinion, I think that's probably one of the worst things you can do because you're just overloading your brain with this information. And then when you sit down, you're completely blank. That's just what happens to me. And I know some people are different, but
I'm a little bit different.
You're like, I'm just built different.
Like doing studying beforehand is always super helpful, but I always like to cram in as much information last second as possible, just so that way I can commit it to short term, do well on the test, and then forget it till the next test. And it's not exactly the healthiest thing to do, but it does help me personally if I have a really large workload. Yeah. If I don't, then I'm always studying like way beforehand, really making sure I understand it. So that way I don't have to cram.
Yeah. I guess maybe this is just me, but I kind of have that mindset. It's just like, you know it or you don't.
Yeah.
I think specifically for me, I just learned this the hard way because I don't remember if I talked about this in the episode where we discussed school, but I took anatomy like 3 times and I failed like every single time.
Oh no.
So, yeah. So the last time I took anatomy, I actually withdrew from the class because it's just like I realized it's really not what I want to do and I just don't want to be in like the medical field. So every time we would take like a quiz or we take a test, the teacher would lay out the classroom with like little props of like the organs and the cells and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she would time us. We'd have like 30 seconds to like write down what we thought it was or the body part we thought it was or whatever, and then shift to the next seat and do that.
That sounds intense.
It was very intense, but we did it 3 times. I think by the time I just dropped the class, I did not pass any of them by any means at all, or even close to passing.
Oh no.
And there would be times where it's just like the 30 seconds are done and I'm just sitting there because I know I don't know it and there's nothing I can do. I can't even like pull something out of my ass like, oh, that's a placenta. And it's just like, I've already written placenta 5 times. It's just like, hopefully one sticks.
Right.
But I don't know. I just have that mindset to where it's like, I know it or I don't. So there's no point in me stressing about the fact that I don't know it. All I have to do is like do better.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's just what helps. Because it's like, why am I stressing about this now? You know, like life goes on. Mm-hmm. It's one test.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you always just have to do better. And then maybe you'll be like me and realize like, oh, this is what's happening. Maybe I'm just like not passionate about this. And 9 times out of 10, anytime that's happened to me, I'm just not something I want to do.
Yeah. Know? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it was through computer science. It's like if you don't have previous experience coding or you don't have a passion for coding, computer science just isn't for you. And I figured that out early on and still tried to power through it. It just didn't work.
I think that's one of the highest like drop rates for
majors.
For majors, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I remember when I was in my 2nd semester of college, maybe my 3rd, I learned that psychology was number 1 and computer science was number 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's different now, I think, but that's what it was back then, back in like 2017.
Yeah, but I mean, if you guys are interested in computer science, don't let us tell you not to do it. But it's
we're not just crapping on it.
We're just being very honest right now. It's hard. It's very hard.
It's very hard. Yeah. And,
especially if you're just being like thrown into it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And something I've always learned, something I learned actually really quickly, and a little bit in high school, I had this ability, but the art of bullshit your papers, just kind of thinking specifically like essays. Really, it's using good vernacular of like good vocabulary and being able to just like compile it into an essay. Like I'm really good at typing things if I have time to type stuff, and I'm really bad at words in person.
Yeah, same.
I always say like and as, and I pause a lot, but it just like on paper, I'm just like really good at writing stuff. And I learned that really well in college, and I'd always do really good on papers.
Same. For those of you who are taking classes on like writing or English or whatever, that is probably one of the best skills that you will get, is just learning how to like efficiently and quickly write a paper.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I had to say about that.
Like knowing almost nothing about a topic and being able to write at least 2 pages on it is such a useful skill. Not just in college, but really in life. If you're in the workplace and you got to come up with a report, you could just like completely BS something, so long as it doesn't have like need quantifiable numbers and is like detrimental to the company.
Yeah.
But if it's just like some sort of report about like, oh, we're just going to be using this for a new system, what do you think of it? And then you're just not really feeling like researching it. And then you just like do a tiny bit of research and be like, okay, I can write a 2-page report about the limited knowledge I have about this.
Yeah.
You can
save your ass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very useful skill.
One thing, this is like a little bit random. I keep saying that, but one thing I think is really important to realize, especially if you're somebody who has kind of like found their major and is going through it and you just feel like you're struggling, talk to your classmates. I think that's so important, is having like open communication with the people around you. And sometimes it's kind of hard to approach people because people can be assholes. And I've experienced that before. I've tried talking to people and they just look at me like I'm crazy. But there are people who you can talk to in class and you can kind of get help from them, which is always really good. Or you can study together, or if you're out one day and they're in class, they can kind of fill you in, let you know what's going on. And that's what's really helped me through like programming and through like a few of my other courses. I can just chat with people in my class, and we're like going through it together, because y'all are all in it together. Basically, you're all in this class. You're all trying to graduate ultimately.
Reach the same common goal.
Well, exactly. And so they're not gonna, most times, unless they're just like horrible, they're not gonna be like, no, do the work yourself.
Exactly.
Or whatever. They're gonna help you, because there's gonna be a time where they need your help.
Yep.
That's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, most people are in the same boat as you. It's just like I feel like everyone's really good at hiding how stressed they are. And I feel like I've never been good at, like, I'll be looking at everyone. It's like, do they all know what they're doing? And I'm sitting here like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, I was literally about to mention that. I'm telling you, you can like look around the classroom and you feel like you are like so stupid and you feel like everybody knows what they're doing. I'm telling you, probably nobody knows what they're doing. And they're all thinking the same thing. And they're like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. Everybody's going through it. I swear to God. I have found that out. There's like some of those people who are just so smart and they actually have it down. But I'm telling you, 99% of your classmates, they do not have it down, and they are just pretending like they do.
Yep. It's kind of crazy. It's like they all learned this skill and I learned the skill of BSing papers. And so it's just like, I got to learn their skills now of hiding my stress. It's kind of like a duck. I've seen a picture of a duck. It's like they look calm on the surface, but underneath the water, they're paddling like hell. It's just like, it's kind of like life.
But yeah, I do have some more tips.
Ooh, let's hear them.
Okay, sorry. I wrote like a bunch down because I'm like, oh my God, these are going to be so good. But one thing that I have found out very quickly by like my first semester of college, never, ever, 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 ever buy your textbooks before class starts. I swear to God.
Okay.
So my first semester, I think I took like history and English, and there was one other class I think I took. Maybe I even took 4. I don't remember. But anyways, not the point. So I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I'm an adult now. I'm graduated. I'm going to go get my textbooks because this is what you have to do.
Right.
And I went to the student bookstore at the college. Don't do that unless you have to. I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But I spent $700 for 3 textbooks.
Oh, that's rough.
That's a lot of money.
I think my most expensive textbook was like $423 just for one book.
Yeah.
And like you said, I went to the bookstore. Horrid mistake.
Yeah. So most times what I would do is wait until the first few days of class, because most professors aren't going to make you do work on the absolute first day of class. They're like, okay, this is what we're doing, whatever. And there's some teachers, they've told you to buy a textbook, and we've never used them.
Yep.
Like those 3 textbooks, I literally returned, I think 2 of them at the end of the semester because I didn't even open them.
Yeah.
They were still in the plastic.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
And if you can avoid going to the student bookstore, it might be like, quote unquote, easier. But there's a few websites, as I said, for like the planner information. I'll put that in the description or the little bio or whatever. There are websites like Chegg. One I used was like NetBooks, and you can get these textbooks and rent them for so cheap. I think my last semester I had rented a textbook for $30, and if you bought it, it was like $200.
Oh, geez.
I rented it for $30.
Yeah.
That's way better.
Yeah, and a lot of times the e-textbook is also a cheaper option as well. You can get it through, Cengage?
Oh, yeah.
Cengage is a good place to get textbooks, like Cengage Unlimited. They have a lot of options.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's, I've used those for a few of my classes here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, I had the hiccups. But those, I actually kind of prefer using the online textbook for that because it shows like a little thing at the bottom how like far you've read into the chapter that it's assigned.
And you could search the textbook, like Control F. You can't do that in real life with paper.
Yes.
That's the worst. There's been a few times in my classes where the teacher has actually dove into the textbook the first day. And like in the beginning of college, I would buy my textbooks beforehand and then never use them. And so I stopped doing that. And I would just kind of wait and test the waters to be like, do we really need the textbook? It's like the class going to be based around it. And there was one class that really was, and she was diving into the textbook the first day, and 99% of the students didn't even have it. So we failed our first few assignments because no one had the textbook, and she was basing the assignments on it. So it was really lame.
I think that's a sign of like a poor teacher.
Yeah,
like a very like bad professor. And one thing I want to mention is there's a website called Rate My Professor.
Yes. Use
that. If you
RATE, rate.
Yeah. Not anything else, but go on there and you can look up your professor. I would say probably 99% of the time they're going to be on there. There's been one teacher I think I looked up that hasn't been on there for some reason. Maybe they're new.
At least your undergrad levels are.
Yeah.
If you're going into like your master's or PhD stuff, like any teachers in there, not always.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm starting my master's and I haven't found 2 out of 3 of my professors in there. So it's just like, the undergrad ones, you'll definitely find them.
But yeah, so you can look them up and it'll give you a pretty good basis on how they are as professors. Some people just love to complain, but if you see a lot of like consistencies with what people are saying, definitely keep that in mind when you're signing up for classes. And so I mentioned a little bit earlier about how I'm not really excited for this semester, and this is kind of one of the reasons why, speaking about signing up for classes and picking out teachers. So I'm an idiot, if you guys didn't know. I
disagree.
Well, thank you. I went to sign up for classes, and I put them in my planner, and we use Blackboard at my school.
Yeah.
Some people use Canvas. It really depends, but they have this stupid feature that lets you plan the classes, and you can click the classes and you put them in there. But I thought that was like you registering for them, but it's not. You have to like go further and like register for them.
Ugh.
It was very confusing. I hate using Blackboard, but I planned out my semester and I went to go look at it probably about 2 weeks ago. All of the classes I chose are full. So,
No.
and for those of you who don't know, I'm basically at the end of my degree. I have 5 more classes that I have to take, and all of them are full. So I was so upset. So I called the counselor, or the academic advisor, I guess, and she's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. All you can do is message a professor and see if they'll let you in. I was like, okay, perfect. So I emailed one professor who had the online courses, which I was looking for, and he was like, okay, yeah, get in contact with an academic advisor and then get back to me. And so I called an academic advisor and I made an appointment. And so I started talking to her, and oh my God, I have the worst luck with dealing with people for some reason, but I was talking to this lady on the phone and I explained to her what I needed. And I said, basically along the lines of like, hey, I contacted this professor and I need to get into his course, and he told me to contact you or any other academic advisor so he can start the steps towards getting me into his class.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, oh, we don't do that. We can't open the course for you. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I reached out to him and he told me to just get in contact with an academic advisor. And she's just like not listening to what I'm saying. She refuses to even like comprehend what I'm saying. It was very frustrating. Got nowhere. And so finally I wait for the 5th of August, which is when, if people haven't paid for their course or their information didn't go through for some reason, they get booted from the course. Mm-hmm. And I was able to get ethical hacking, which is one of the ones I wanted to take, but I was not able to get into any of the other 4.
Oh, jeez.
So I had to take ethical hacking this semester and then American music.
American music. Nice.
I'm just like, whatever. This will probably be like a more laid back semester.
Yeah.
I probably need it. But
yeah.
Had a little inconsistency here in my schedule. But, hopefully it gets better. And I'm excited to take the semester. But moral of the story is make sure you are fully registered for your course.
Double check, triple check.
Quadruple check.
Yeah. And something I've definitely noticed between the difference between community college and university is that you have to pay for your classes beforehand with community college. And then with university, you only have to pay them by the end of the semester. In order to register for your next classes, you have to actually have your other classes paid off, whether you did it out of pocket or through student loans or Pell Grants or scholarships, whatever the case is. So just know that. Yeah. I really do like that method a little more than community college, because if you don't pay for your classes beforehand, then you can't take them. I think it's kind of lame, because like, what if you drop them and stuff? So I don't know.
I think they do that so they can take your money.
Yeah. Yeah,
because,
I think community colleges just don't make as much money in general, so that's probably why.
I think they make a lot of money. I just think
in compared to universities, though.
Yeah, this is the part of me that does believe that colleges are scams. I think they charge way too much money for what they are.
Way too much.
And that even goes for community colleges. And I'm taking like the quote unquote cheaper route, and like it's expensive for no reason.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason why this should be so expensive. And especially now that COVID has happened and they were having us do labs and we were paying lab fees for labs that we couldn't even do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And just to give you an idea, with university, at least, I do a job where they will pay for 8 out of 8 credit hours per semester. Uh-huh. I'm taking 9 credit hours right now. So I only have to pay for 1, and it's like $700.
Oh my God.
For 1 credit hour. It's just like, wow. And that's going to be every single semester.
And it's how much?
It's $700 for 1 credit hour.
That's how much my whole semester is. It's like a little bit more than $700, and I'm taking the 2 classes.
Jeez.
So it's like 6 credit hours.
Yeah, they're also throwing in weird fees like graduate fees, upper division course fees. It's just like, why?
I just think it's so stupid.
Yeah, and then like back then in like the 60s and stuff, they can go to college and graduate at the price of a Happy Meal.
I know. They could freaking graduate college for a nickel.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't know why these damn millennials refuse to get a job and they don't want to go to college.
Exactly.
Because they buy avocado toast and buy Starbucks every day. Yeah, that's why I can't afford a $500,000 home in this market.
It's just so expensive these days. And I think that really just like drives people to not want to do college.
Yeah.
And I also think it's because people have been doing school for so long. They're just like, ugh, more school. And I have to pay for it now. No thanks.
Exactly.
And I mean, I get it. But I'd say I've actually learned way more in college than I did all of my 13 years of school between kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. I think I've learned more in college than I have in all those other years.
I definitely,
in terms of like life and general knowledge, like
math,
nah. That definitely through the like high school and stuff, that definitely helped me through there. But I mean, I never used calculus in the real world.
Yeah. But when we're kind of talking about how expensive college can be, one thing that I do want to keep in mind is that you can use your student discount. And I think a lot of people just forget that that's a thing. If you're in college, milk the shit out of that. I swear to God. I recently got a gym membership and I was like, I'm a student. Can I get a student discount? And they're like, okay, yeah. So instead of me like paying all this money, I'm just using my student discount. And there's a lot of things that you can get a student discount for, like probably more notably like Spotify. You can get Spotify and Hulu for $5 a month. It's $5.40 for me exactly, but
okay.
There's other things. YNAB is really good. So you need a budget. YNAB. I think you get, if I'm correct, I think it's a year free. You get a year free. Yeah.
Wow.
It's for budgeting, of course.
Right.
I highly suggest you do that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of keep you in check with your budget and make sure you're like keeping track of your money. And I think a lot of people don't really do that. But you should.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're still, like, living with your parents or you're really, like, kind of still having your, like, baby job, you know what I mean, before you go out into, like, the real world. But I think it's a really important skill to learn beforehand. So if you want a budget, you can go there.
Yep.
There's other websites. I think UniDaze is what it's called. UNI-Daze.
Interesting. Okay.
It shows you all the discounts you can get if you're a student.
Wow. Okay. I should take that out. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. There's like, there are so many. You can get like Converse, Hollister, I think. There's like so many that you wouldn't even think about that you can get a discount at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something that's kind of cool is that if you watched last episode, we're getting a student discount on our apartment. So we're getting rent like discounted.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of places have them and you don't even like know.
Yeah.
Literally just call and ask if you're scared to ask. Because then if they say no, you can just hang up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do. That's like such a stupid thing to admit. Like, oh my God, yeah, I'll hang up on people.
You just hang up on people.
Well, sometimes I get like nervous and I don't want to ask them in person. So I'll just like call them like, do you guys have this? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, okay. Then I just hang up.
Okay, well, that's fair though.
But yeah.
Helps save money.
This is a little bit off topic, I guess, but I really think that keeping contact with your teachers is really important. I know this is just way out of left field, but I'm really like reminiscing right now on how many times that has kind of saved my ass in school.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. If you have like an open line of communication with your classmates and with your teacher, you're gonna get like a really good grade. I'm telling you. Like even just doing that, because teachers will appreciate somebody with initiative. If you are somebody who just like sits in the back of the class and doesn't talk to them or doesn't participate, they're not really gonna favor you as somebody else would that like emails them and asks questions and isn't afraid to like say anything. It's honestly a really good idea to talk to them.
Yeah.
Every semester, I'll like email my teachers and I'll ask them questions, I'm not afraid to just like ask even stupid questions because that's their job. They're supposed to help you. So just ask them anything you have questions about, make sure to make it known that you're making that initiative to kind of do the work and stuff like that. And then when the time comes where you need an extension because things got caught up in whatever else, they're going to be way more likely to give that to you than to some random person who's never talked to them.
Yeah, they're like, are you in my class?
Well, exactly. They're like, no.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. But if it's somebody who, you've talked to a lot and you've kind of like gained like a rapport with them, they're going to want to do it for you.
Yeah. And that's something I've definitely experienced when I was in computer science. I was always kind of the guy that just sat in the back and just did the work. And I struggled a lot. And anytime I needed extensions or needed help, they kind of gave me the cold shoulder. But after I'd switched my major to business, and I kept constant communication with the teachers, and they're very helpful, very understanding. And like you said, if you just, keep that communication line open with them, they're more than willing to work with you if you ever need anything.
Exactly.
And when they answer questions, even, they'll be a little more thorough in their answers compared to someone who just like never talks to them.
Like, exactly. Do not be afraid to ask questions, because that is something that I took so long to kind of muster up the courage to do. But once you do it, there's no going back. I will message my teachers for like really stupid stuff, like, I can't seem to log into this. Why is this? Or whatever.
Yeah. Or,
I wasn't able to get this screenshot in this specific lab on page 37. They're like, okay, yeah, don't worry about it. 99% of the time, like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because they know that I'm a good student and they know that I'm making that initiative. So they're like,
they know you're not slacking off and making excuses. They're like, okay, this person has been trying, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's an actual glitch with their system or our system, and we'll just let it slide.
Exactly. So I think that, as we said, just keeping that communication is just the best thing you can do. If you don't follow any of these, this should be the one that you follow. Yeah,
exactly. I definitely agree with that. And that's something that I've noticed that's very different compared to public school versus college, is that the teachers work with you on stuff and they're lenient. Like, a lot of the stuff is their own curriculum.
Yeah.
They don't have to necessarily follow the school's guidelines of what they have to teach and what stuff they have to administer. It's just like what they're giving you. Yeah. Specifically with the more concentrated classes. If you're just taking like core, like English 101, then it's like, yeah, they probably have to follow some sort of curriculum and give you like this test with these questions and stuff. But when it comes to college professors that are actually teaching their own classes, they're coming up with the curriculum, all the assignments, grades, everything. And so they can choose to be lenient on stuff if they want. And even in high school, I remember the teachers would be like, oh, in college, you're going to have to dress fancy and you're going to have to call them doctor. And like, like literally my first semester, my computer science teacher came to work in his pajamas, sat on the podium, ate a bowl of cereal, and then dismissed class because he just didn't feel like teaching that day.
Literally, like, there's been so many times where I've just been in class and the teacher's not even there, and they just stroll in like 5-10 minutes late, and they're like, yeah, well, I really don't feel like teaching today, so you guys can like leave, or if you want, you can watch this movie that has nothing to do with anything.
It's like, if you have any questions, I'll be here, but if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, basically.
It's really nice, honestly. It's just like still stressful though, because I feel like any college class is like an advanced placement or AP class from high school.
Yeah.
It's every college class, even the basic ones are like really more advanced, sort of like quote unquote high school classes.
I feel like there's more pressure to do well in college courses because you're paying for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of like why it's so stressful for me, because I'm like, oh my God, like that's $700 down the drain if I fail both of these classes, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have the threat of, if you have student loans, those get taken away and you don't get to have student loans anymore. So now you got to pay back all this money. And it's stressful. I think that's probably the root of why it's so stressful for me, is the financial aspect, because I don't get a lot in student loans at all. Mm-hmm. Because my parents make a specific amount of money. They're like, oh yeah, I see that your parents get pepperoni and mushrooms on their pizza. Yeah, you do not need student loans.
They actually buy popcorn at the theater. Yeah, you don't need student loans. You can afford this.
I saw that you guys went on a vacation back in 2016. You guys don't need student loans. You're good. But yeah,
government logic.
Well, exactly. And I get very little. I'm still like kind of grateful for what I get, but the fact that it's so expensive just kind of makes it way more stressful.
Yeah. Now that you're an independent, though, you can file that on your taxes and get more. That's always good.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So you based it on your yearly income, and they'll compensate you accordingly.
Oh, yeah.
And something that I would always consider trying is trying to apply for scholarships for college if you can. Anything helps, really.
Yeah.
And then also Pell Grants, because Pell Grants is not money you have to pay back. That's just money the government gives you, and it's yours for college.
Oh, yeah. There's some scholarships that I really don't recommend. Like, don't go for like those super popular ones, in my opinion, because they're always like, there's always never a chance of doing it, and then you're wasting all of this time trying to apply and write this essay or do whatever you want, and then you don't even get it.
Yeah.
I think it's just exhausting. I think that's one of the biggest reasons it like deters people from doing it. But I mean, there's a lot of times there are these like smaller communities that are giving stuff away, and they really don't ask like much in return. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's just something that's just like, here, write 100 words as to why you think this is. And 100 words is not a lot.
No.
It's like, sometimes it's almost a challenge to squeeze all the reasons why you need this scholarship in 100 words.
Exactly. There was a teacher I had last semester, and I would have to write like little essays every few weeks about like the cybersecurity world or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it would be so hard just to fit it all in 100 words because it was the 100-word limit. It's like, okay, I guess I'll try.
That's something that actually kind of can handicap you if you learn the art of BSing papers.
Yes.
Is that you become very wordy in college.
Exactly. I was about to say that. I'm like, you just get so wordy, and then you just gotta like learn to cut it down. And yeah. But there are two more things I don't want to mention.
Okay.
So one of them is just keeping yourself nourished whenever you're studying or going, even just life in general, but especially when you're in school and you're trying to focus. Nourish yourself, please. Do not starve yourself, and do not eat like super greasy, super sugary foods. You're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
And you're gonna want to sleep, and you're like, I don't want to come in, I'm so tired, and then you're just not gonna go, and you're gonna
fail.
You're gonna fail, and then you're gonna get pregnant and die.
That's how it works.
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you just you're still laughing at that.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. But really keeping yourself nourished is probably the best way to kind of stay focused in class. I know it's like hard because people have like specific issues that kind of hinder them from being focused, but I mean, eating like a healthy meal or eating something with like good like sustenance and like protein, it'll kind of help you stay focused. Even when you're studying, if you eat like shit, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
So not saying that like if you need to eat and there's like nothing around besides like junk food, eat. Just don't starve yourself.
Exactly.
But try to, if you can, just eat healthy.
Yeah. I always brought protein bars with me when I was going to college.
Well, that's like one thing I would do is I would keep like just like stuff I can keep in my backpack for like a week or two that's not going to go bad.
Yeah.
Like granola or whatever.
Yeah.
I can eat it during class. It's not making a bunch of noise, so I can kind of nourish myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm getting tired, then I can just start snacking on it so I'm not sleepy.
That's something I always hated in class, though, is the people who would bring like chips. And it's like, oh, dude, shut up.
They have like a whole buffet in the back. They're like
microwaving and blending.
Yes. Not saying you shouldn't eat, but there are times where it's just like, if you have like a bunch of food and you're like, and like eating like a crunchy salad, you know what I mean? It's like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Just distracting everyone. But yeah, no, if you're hungry during class, it's really hard to focus and you're really not doing yourself any good. So be sure to bring at least some snacks that are, again, high in protein. Protein helps keep you full. Maybe a good fiber diet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, to keep yourself nourished. That's really good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Very good advice.
If you have something that's like loud, it's college. Just like step into the hallway. Nobody cares.
Yeah. No, just be like, I'm going to the bathroom, but you don't even need to tell anyone. But
just peace out.
Yeah.
You could like leave and they wouldn't care.
Yeah. I feel like professors low key care if you just leave classroom midway and not come back. But like, what are they gonna do? There's
been times where I've done that just because like I needed to go do something, or like I remember probably one or two times where I'm just like, I'm really not feeling it, so I just left.
Yeah. No, I see that a lot. And don't be afraid to do that yourself. If you have something you got to do, just don't be afraid to stand up and just walk out. You don't have to ask anyone.
Exactly. It's just like, I don't know why they always did this in high school and like literally like K through 12, where they would make you just like ask for the bathroom and then they'd be like, no, you can't go. And she's like, who are you to tell me that I can't go to the bathroom? Like, what is wrong with you? I understand wanting to know where the students are, but just, like, refusing to let a student go to the bathroom, like, are you crazy?
That's insane. It's like, okay, I'll just pee my pants here.
Well, it's like, I'll just pull up the trash can, take a big fat shit, dude, and then you can clean it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always thought it was, like, such, like, a weird, like...
I really wish I saw someone do that.
I think it would have been
It's like
funny.
a protest. That'd be so funny.
It's just, like, a weird abuse of power. I'm like, these are, like, literal children.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're holding that above their head. No, you can't go to the bathroom. You had a 2-minute passing period. I know that you had to walk all the way across the campus, but that's not my fault.
You should have pooped on the way.
You should have shit on the way, kicked it out of your pants. Oh, I love that video.
I'll let someone else step and slip on it.
But yeah, so for my last bit of advice, I just want to mention that bring the essentials to class. So for me, everybody's going to have different essentials, but for me, essentials are headphones.
Okay.
Not to, like, listen in class to music, but I like to walk to class with music.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk into work, I listen to music. Have pencils and paper.
Yeah.
Just any basic thing. Just have, like, a pack of, like, 10 Crayola markers or some sort of colors, because there might be a time where you might need those. It sounds weird, but I've had instances where the teacher's like, okay, color this. Just like, I have one pencil
yeah.
with, like, not enough lead.
Yep, exactly.
But just try your best to get, like, an adequate amount of supplies. Like get a binder, get a pencil, or, like, a few pencils, I'd say, just in case. Get an eraser. If you don't get mechanical pencils, do a pencil sharpener, just in case.
Always bring water.
Always bring water, too. That's what I was going to mention. But as I said earlier, I like to keep a snack in my bag just in case, because there's times where, like, oh, I forgot to eat breakfast, or I forgot to eat dinner, or whatever else.
Yeah.
And you're going to be hungry. So,
yeah,
like, pack something quick that you can eat that's not going to go bad, that you'll just remember in your bag.
Because buying food on campus, it could really get costly after some time.
Yeah. I also like to have gum.
Oh, that's fair.
That's just a personal opinion. Hand sanitizer, especially now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one. Let me think. Okay, here's a really good one. Depending on the school you go to, you're going to have to purchase, like, Scantrons.
Ooh, yeah.
And then I don't know if it's the same thing everywhere, but my school called them blue books.
Blue books, yes.
Yeah. So apparently, I was talking to my mom about this whenever I had to go buy them one day. She's like, you guys have to buy those? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, they always gave those to us. Yeah. So usually you get them at the student store. I think ours were like 30 cents for the blue book. And
really?
Then, yeah.
Mine are only 15.
Wow.
15 cents. Now, one thing that I liked is that my teachers always notified us if we needed to get them beforehand. Mm-hmm. And with the Scantrons, they were always provided. I never actually had to buy a Scantron before.
Oh, yeah.
But blue books I did have to buy. It was just for one of my classes. And again, they're only like 15. I only had to pay like 15 cents per blue book. And I bought like 4 of them.
Yeah.
We only needed one, but.
Yeah. I would always buy, I think it was probably like $2, but it was a package of Scantrons. Do it. Because there's going to be times where you're going to put off, like, oh, I don't want to walk all the way to the student store. I don't want to go get a blue book.
Yeah.
And then it's the day of and you're like, fuck, I'm late to school.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like basically running to class and I have a test.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to go get any of those.
And it's just like, it'd just happened to be the time where everyone's taking a test and there's a line to get the Scantrons or blue books.
Or there's none left.
None left. Exactly.
Like, we gotta staple more. No! But yeah.
And you have to like ask around class, like, hey, got a Scantron?
That's like the worst feeling ever. That's why I say, like, bring a pencil, bring a pen, bring like the basics, and especially if you know that you're gonna have to use them eventually, bring a Scantron and a blue book, because you're gonna need them, and you're not gonna have them when you need them. If you don't.
Something that really honestly saved my life and a lot of time was a touchscreen laptop. I had a laptop I mean, you're probably going to need a laptop for really any college these days, but
Yeah.
a touchscreen one really, really enhanced and efficiently made my workflow just way faster. It's like instead of having to use the trackpad to go up to the X to the top, you can just touch it. It honestly really saved a lot of time, and I would honestly recommend one. But if you can't get one, you never have to worry about that. But it's something I would genuinely recommend.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. I think my brother, he has an iPad that he uses in place of like a computer, and it works really well for him. I personally, when I graduated, I got a MacBook Air, which is actually what we are recording this on right now. But I don't know, it's always worked really well for me. The MacBook Pros are really good too. I think those are like the very basic, like, quote unquote college computers, you know what I mean?
Right.
When I go to class, I always see the people with like the iPads, the MacBook Airs, the MacBook Pros. There's like some other ones, but usually if they're like any other brand, there's just like random.
Yeah.
These ones are like always like the consistent ones I see.
And something that's kind of funny is that I bought I didn't buy one. My parents got me it for graduating high school, was my touchscreen laptop. It was a 16-inch laptop, so it's kind of on the bigger side. And I would always find my friends and people around me using my laptop like to look on the screen because it's bigger.
Yeah.
Because they bought the smaller one and they can't see anything.
Yeah, I recommend getting like a bigger screen. That's just my preference. It'll probably be easier to carry around a little one.
Yeah, it's definitely easier. It's lighter, but the bigger screen really helps.
Yeah, if you're getting like my MacBook Air is like fairly large. So, I mean, it's like light too. It's very thin.
For sure.
Yeah, but I think that's about all the tips I have for you guys. There's probably more that I'm not thinking about right now, and I'm going to finish and be like, no, I should have said that. Darn it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be annoyed, but I hope you guys can use those.
Hopefully something here if you're in college and you've been going through it, and hopefully something here might help you if you haven't heard or have experienced all these things, or if you're about to go to college, definitely try to follow these if you can, because we've been through it.
Oh yeah, like made me blank out. I'm just like, yeah, it. Oop, sorry.
even like the people above our generation and stuff, the older generation who graduated college, they're like, oh, I only had to do this and this, but it's like, well, this is now.
Yeah.
And so it's different, and coming from people who have gone through it now.
Yeah.
Are it's probably the most valid advice, most relevant, I would say, at least.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just really hard to get guidance when I go to my mom or my dad or like anybody kind of around their age.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk to them about specific issues that I'm having, not even just college, and they just don't understand, or they are like so disconnected from how things are now.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I don't want to get into this much, but like the job market and stuff, like they have like such different views of it. It's like so crazy. So sometimes it's like really hard to talk to like your older loved ones about it. So it's kind of good to be able to hear from people your age or close to your age who are kind of going through it.
Yeah.
And they know how it is.
Exactly. But yeah, if you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. If you didn't like it, still subscribe. That would be great. But also hit the dislike and call us stinky in the comments.
Yeah. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. We really appreciate you guys. We are having this episode come out on time.
Hooray!
This is Monday when you guys are listening.
Yep.
Or later. But earliest is Monday.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, guys. You know what to do. Stay sunny.
Stay sunny.